What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Two Goat Show. We're your hosts, Mariah and Steph. Steph, what's up? Happy Two Goat Thursday. How you doing? Good to see you.
Happy to go Thursday. We're getting close to Thanksgiving. Can't wait for that. But yeah, we got a game to talk about on Sunday before that.
Yep, we are getting close. I have a busy ending of this month and beginning of next month. So we're unfortunately even skipping Thanksgiving dinner, which is my favorite thing to do, to cook Thanksgiving. Like, that's my thing. And we had to skip it this year. So I'm very upset. So if anybody wants to, send me some Thanksgiving dinner, you're more than welcome. Just don't poison me. Thanks. Chats, happy to go Thursday. How's everybody doing? Throwback first in the door. Don, appreciate you too, as always. Rob D, what's good? Jimmy, what up? Hope everybody's doing great. It's unfortunate we have to go through another loss this week, but besides that, I hope everybody's doing great. Health and wealth and all of that good stuff. Steph,
Yes.
why does your team do this? Like,
my team?
Yeah. I'm so sick of this shit.
Hey, I am too. I think we all are, right? Like that's just about where we're at. We're all kind of sick of how this team has looked so
like,
far.
How come, all the things that, like, the Madden curse and the Super Bowl hangover and all these things, happen to the 49ers? Like, when is it Kansas City's turn? Like, when do they get a Super Bowl hangover? When do they get, why is it the 49ers can never overcome fucking anything that happens to them? It's like, oh my God, so frustrating this season. It's just like, and my brother-in-law, he's a Raiders fan. And so we've been talking. Normally I can, talk about all the great things, and he, spills to me all his misery. Now we're just miserable together. So, going back and forth, and he's like, well, at least your team's injured. So blah, blah. I'm like, you guys have done nothing but tell us how stacked this team is for the last couple seasons. So, now, like, we still have tons of freaking talent on this team. The injury excuse, I'm not taking it. Not one single fucking bit. And I told him there's so many different things. And that's what's, I think, the most frustrating is, like, as fans, you want something to, at least if you're sucking and all these problems, you want something to blame. Like, why is all this freaking happening? Oh, Kyle Shanahan, you piece of shit, it's your fault. That's why there's like that group that blames Kyle, because they need something to blame. It's like, in this season, it's like there's so many different things that, what is it? What? I don't know. Like, I honestly can't sit down and think, like, and be able to just take one thing and be like, this is the glaring issue that's the reason why the 49ers are ass right now. Because there's not just one thing. And that, it's just, I don't know if that makes it better or that makes it worse. I think for me as a fan, like, it just makes it more frustrating. And especially because you have such high hopes for a team going into the season, right? Like, if you're a whatever, the Panthers fan, you're not going into the season thinking that your team's going to be in the Super Bowl. Like, you're already used to being a loser. You're used to your team sucking. You're used to everything falling apart, So it's like your hopes, they're not starting up here and then crumbling down, right? They're just starting like here and then they crumble like a couple inches. Us as 49ers fans, we go into the season, especially a season like this, with all this talent on the roster. Mm-hmm. And our hopes are freaking sky high, thinking we can get back to the Super Bowl. Nobody, our division's ass, and then all of a sudden, I feel like it started with Christian McCaffrey. Once we got that news, it seems like everything has just, snowballed, the snowball effect, just rolled down the hill, collected fucking everything along the way, and here we are. So, Steph, after this loss to Seattle, just give me your overall thoughts from the game and tell me just how you feeling with this team right now.
I mean, I feel like I've felt most of the season that they look the same. There hasn't been any improvements. I mean, you're not going to win games like that. I mean, you certainly could, and with a team as talented as they are, I guess it's no wonder how they've been able to win a few. But like just across the board, there's been so many mistakes. I agree with you. I think there's so much more than just one thing going on with this team that is the reason they haven't looked the way they have. And, this team under Kyle Shanahan has had like moments of underperforming, right, relative to their expectations. But I think even in the past when that has happened, you still have something to latch onto as far as this is the thing that is going to get us on a run, right? Like that looks special. That looks like something you can win with. There literally hasn't been anything this season that tells me that this team could be special. Now, could they turn it around? Like, sure, but we're in week 12 and you've been facing a lot of these issues for pretty much this entire season. So why should I have any hope that you're going to suddenly turn it on now? Like, and the things I was hearing players say from like the post game and just like speaking to the media throughout the week, it was almost even more frustrating because like you hear them say things like, "Oh, like we're pissed off now. Like we feel the urgency now. It's week fucking 12. Like why are we mad until now? Why do you feel the urgency now? That game against Seattle should have been a must-win game, right? Like it should have felt like one. It should have felt the urgency. What Seattle, Geno Smith, I think after the game said like we understood how much this game meant.
Yeah.
The 49ers, it seemed like they were the only ones that didn't get the memo, and yet they continue to latch on to like things that have happened in the past. Oh, we just need to get in order to do it. Yeah, like yes, that's true, but you're not doing anything to change the things that are that's the reason that you're losing, and the way that the reason that your back is against the wall in the first place, right? Like the things that they're saying isn't doing anything to address that. I don't think there's anything to make me feel like things will change right now. So that's where I'm at. And that's why it's different than all the other times where they've had a record like 5-5 and they've made runs, right? They had something special. 2021, for example, they were 5-5 at one point in that season. They had Deebo Samuel having like maybe the best season that we've ever seen a wide receiver have, as far as also being able to carry the ball as well, carry your team too. We don't have anything. We don't have any of that. We thought Christian McCaffrey would be able to provide that spark. He hasn't been that. Deebo looks like a shell of himself. George Kittle may be the only thing that is giving me some sense of, well, he looks like the same guy. He looks like someone who can will this team to a victory. Juwan Jennings as well. Kittle's not even getting the ball as much as he should be, right? Like, and not to get on a soapbox and like, have a very long-winded answer to your question, but that's where I'm at, right? Like there's just so much wrong and so much to vent about with this team. So yeah, it's been frustrating.
Yeah. I think we can all feel that. I think, most of us are in that same spot. Like it's frustrating to say the freaking least. You brought up somebody who I want to talk about a little bit, and that's Deebo. Terrell Owens came out, and I guess, I don't know, he was doing an interview or whatnot, and this statement or whatever is going on around about Deebo. It's kind of funny coming from him because I mean, he was like the type to worry about his fit and all this shit. And most of the organizations were sick of him within a year of being there. So it's just kind of funny, for him to say this, but at least he performed on the freaking field. So he says, Debo seems like he's more focused on his pregame attire than he is actually the game. If he can shift that focus, maybe that can energize and create some more production from an offensive standpoint. I say that kind of tongue in cheek, though. And then Kittle was asked about Debo and about him. I don't know. It came up. I couldn't really hear the question, but Kittle's answer was about, Debo being in the backfield, something that we've all talked about. We're all sick of seeing it because the defenses know, like, the play's not getting us fucking anywhere, right? Like, it hasn't for a couple years now. And Kittle says, Debo in the backfield for 3 years now, and teams have adjustments made for them. He said, I think Debo's fine. I can block better for him, give him some more openings. Us on the team got to execute better. I feel like we have been looking for, like, we're constantly saying, when is Debo going to be Debo? Where's Debo at? What, like, looking for this Debo, why are we not believing what Debo is showing us? Like, he has showed us more years being not fantastic than the one singular year he was all this. Like, the year that got him paid, the year that got him this, running back and wide receiver combo, role, all this. And since then, we haven't seen that. Prior to that, we didn't see that. So when a player is showing us year after year now that this is what they are, like, why are we still looking for this Debo that probably doesn't fucking exist? Like, I don't understand. Like, he has not shown us that he can consistently be that player that we've seen that 1 year.
Yeah.
And yet we still continue to say, where's Debo? When's Debo going to show up? When's Debo going to get separation? When's Debo going to be a wide receiver? When's Debo going to be the running back that role that he's supposed to have? Like, none of that. Like, why are we letting him continue to fool us game after game, year after year? Like, I'm just sick of it. And that whole him in the backfield, like, I'm fucking over it. Like, why are we still fucking doing that? Try it with somebody else.
Right.
Like, like, Kyle acts like we have nobody else on the fucking team. Debo's not a wide receiver fucking one. And now you were asking him to play that freaking role. And defenses have fucking clamps on his ass. Like, he ain't that fucking dude. Like, he ain't. So I don't know why we continue to look for this fucking Superman to show up that doesn't fucking exist. It's like fucking believing in Santa Claus again. Believe what he's showing us. And I hope this is the last season with him on this team.
Felt like I was getting scolded a couple times there. Don't piss Miriah off. Yeah, as far as Debo, I mean, I think there's certain conditions in which he could be a special player, but those conditions simply do not exist anymore, right? And I think defenses now are playing more man-to-man against the Niners, and I think that's an advantage to opposing teams because you're not going to have Brandon Ayuk out there, who was the best receiver the 49ers had against man. And you have Debo, who can't get open in man, right? No, that's not to say that he's not open on every single play and that
Right.
Purdy can never throw to him, but still it does limit your offense a bit. And again, that's the advantage to the defense, because then you really just have to account for Juwan Jennings, who Juwan Jennings has been incredible this season.
Such a stud.
Incredible. He's been everything. I'm so happy he's part of this team. But I agree, Miriah. I think in certain conditions, having Ricky Pearsall more involved would be helpful. I feel like having even Jacob Cowing, which I know, he exited that game early on Sunday, maybe won't play this upcoming game because he's in the concussion protocol. But, that's just an example of other guys that we could see involved and could have a larger impact aside from Deebo Samuel in certain conditions where Deebo is not excelling, right? And sorry, to get to that super chat from Corey, he says Purdy left after the start of practice and canceled press. Is he playing or what? Now, him not practicing or being limited in practice, he was throwing is what they said, right? Like he was throwing
short
and by they
passes.
I mean short passes based on what the beat writers were saying. And it didn't seem like he practiced the entire practice or that he threw all of practice. It was mostly, Brandon Allen and Dobbs getting work. That's not too concerning to me. I think he can go most, if not all of the week without practicing, without throwing much, and still play. But the fact that he didn't speak to the media is definitely notable, because usually you're a starting quarterback, you speak with the media every week, unless you're not going to play that week. So that is a little concerning to me. Now, according to Eric Branch, one of the beat writers, he said, per the team, Purdy won't speak with the media today because he is receiving treatment on his sore right shoulder. So seems like a schedule conflict of some sort, but I am starting to speculate that Brock Purdy is maybe on the unfavorable end of the chances of playing for Sunday. It certainly, I'm getting the growing sense, and I'm not feeling great about it, which would be catastrophic. So you already are possibly without Nick Bosa on Sunday as well. I was already thinking, is unlikely to play. Not good.
So from the reports, I'm trying to pull it up right now so I can get the exact wording, but it made it seem like Purdy was just at the very beginning of practice, did none of the team shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yet he can't do his media because he's getting treatment. Yet you left practice early and you couldn't have got treatment in that time and then had been ready for your media availability? Because that just seems odd. Because we've had even Kittle, different position, obviously, but even a guy like that who has been questionable during the week still will do his media availability and then be out the freaking game, so it's just very strange to not have somebody that's supposed to, like you said, speak to the media every week. Like one of the how many ever people that's your weekly thing.
Mm-hmm.
And treatment couldn't have been scheduled at a different time.
Yeah, so that again, it just makes me feel like he's not going to play, because I know that anytime there's an injury, Kyle will kind of play it up to his advantage, right? Even when he was asked the other day about Nick Bosa, he was like, he definitely could play, but he also definitely could not. It's like, okay, yes, thanks, Kyle, very helpful. But you know why he's doing it. And I think I would speculate that there's a possibility that the team would do the same thing with Brock, right? Like take it down to the wire, make Packers think on their toes a little bit about who might be starting. But even then, you would still have Brock, I think, do the presser on Wednesday or Thursday. And yeah, the fact that he hasn't or didn't is not a good sign to me, in my opinion. That'd be taking it too far. They got to pull out all the stops. You feel like this is kind of, you're in desperation mode. But even still, I don't think they would go this far, for the sake of gamemanship.
Yeah, very strange. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate you. Do we still know, like, when, how, what, where, anything about this injury? Like,
no, I don't think
they hit, or
I don't think they knew specifically which play it happened on. That's what Kyle said. If you recall, and I don't remember what point in the game he was wearing that brace, but he was wearing a brace. Some people, I think, thought that it was for his elbow, but it looked like it was actually for his shoulder. And then some people also said he wore that last season too, when it was starting to get cold, like winter games and things like that. So I don't know if him wearing that brace had to do with the shoulder injury or if it was because of he just wears it every winter. I don't know, but that did happen on the sideline. Steve-O, you blame me for everything, man. That happened on the sideline against Seattle. I mean, dude is taking hits out there. He's scrambling and running, and sometimes he doesn't kneel that soon. Like he will kind of push it a little bit, so you are going to get some hits on you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, especially against divisional opponents who you had beat 6 times prior. Like they want to get a hit on you,
Right.
So you got to be careful with that. And I'm sure the Packers, if he does play, will try the same, right? So yeah, I think he's probably taking some unnecessary hits there.
Yeah, so Throwback tagged us in the tweet from that David Lombardi put out, and it says, update, no Brock Purdy press conference today. Thursdays are his normal day to go. He wasn't in the locker room while it was open to the media, so there are questions but no answers at this point after Purdy left Thursday's practice around the third period. Let's go on to a couple other injuries that we're dealing with. We also have no Trent Williams and no Nick Bosa still at practice today. Kittle says he will play, that he can't pass up playing the Packers. I wish he was able to play and not be able to pass up playing Seattle, but here we are. What's your concern? I mean, obviously, no Brock Purdy is the worst fucking thing we could be dealing with right now.
I mean, I think on both sides of the ball, right? Like I was already very concerned about Nick Bosa and how him not playing has a huge impact on the defense and how that benefited Seahawks down the stretch, right? Even Matt LaFleur, when he was asked about Nick Bosa this week, was like, yeah, like there's some things we definitely wouldn't want to do when he's on the field. So let's just say like the playbook would probably open up a little bit if, if he's not playing. And I think that's what we saw against Seattle. Like Geno Smith looked a hell of a lot comfortable back there. And I would expect the same for Jordan Love. So that's already catastrophic, right? That already creates a bigger need for the offense to put more points up because I think you can expect that the defense is going to allow more points. So Brock not playing, I think, is also catastrophic because like those are two pretty big guys on both sides of the ball that you're not going to have.
Who plays for Brock?
I think it would be Brandon Allen. I think that's always who the 49ers have preferred over Dobbs. So Dobbs does have the experience in the NFC North, though, but I still think that they would choose Brandon Allen. He's the safer option. That's what they like.
Not good, Steph. Not good. Something before we'll get into this Green Bay game right now, but one more thing that Kyle was asked about this week that I wanted to talk about, because we talked so much about when we got CMC back, about him not forgetting that he has other capable running backs, and not continue to just run CMC into the fucking ground, especially if CMC's not doing so great. Like, why are you not letting your other guys, come in and like change a pace, like see if somebody else can friggin' have a spark, or see, something.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle was asked, about the running backs and, kind of about like the committee situation. And Kyle said, usually they do have a committee. But when CMC is here, it's usually just him for obvious reasons. But we spell him if he needs a rest. And, like they had asked, is it possible that we see, maybe CMC and Mason, or CMC and Garendo on the field? And he said, anything's possible, but he's not going to give up the game plan, right? So, what I got from that is that he's just going to continue to run CMC into the ground. It doesn't really matter as long as CMC is healthy enough to play. CMC is going to be the guy. What if, let's say, I mean, if your entire fucking team's hurt, let's just be real, and we have no Purdy, we have no blah, 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 down the freaking list, right? Do you just continue to pound CMC into the fucking ground the rest of the season?
Well, I know how we feel about this team and their chances of making the playoffs. I think it's like 27%. And we may think however we do about that, right? Like shut it down, like, get the rookies in. But as a team, as a head coach, like you can't think like that. At least not yet. You can't think that until it's really over. So, I mean, as of right now, they still have to keep giving it their best effort with who they do have available and their best options there, right? Who, like I said, who Kyle thinks is the safest option. And clearly, he feels like that's Christian McCaffrey. And I don't blame him, right? Like, I think Christian is the best running back in the league. And right now this season, aside from Barkley, right? Like he's been that in the past, right? So I think you want to keep trying your chances and seeing when Christian McCaffrey looks like the same guy. I think it's going to take some time for him to get there. Now, if they lose against the Packers, their playoff chances are next to zero. Like virtually it's over, But I don't think they'll stop trying as a team until they're mathematically out of it, right? So, I don't know. I can't be mad at that. Like you still have a fighting chance. You can't tell your team like, no. We could say that because we're fans, right? But I mean, the team still has to have hope.
We lose to Green Bay, and then we have who do we have after
Bills?
Green Bay?
Bills the following week. It's not looking good. I mean, it's really not.
So let's just say the 49ers lose to Green Bay and to the Bills. What do you do with CMC?
They're probably done.
What do you do with Greenlaw? Do you let him still come back?
Dude,
do you just
I wouldn't let Greenlaw. I wouldn't let Greenlaw back. And if assuming they lose these next two, right? I don't bring Greenlaw back. I don't think Greenlaw should even want to come back. I think as a
No.
competitive nature, like you want to get back, right? But like he's got to think about himself, his family, his chance at having a contract. Like you can't risk going out there and suffering another injury or setback, anything, right? Like he
That's what
can't
I'm
risk that.
saying.
So I do think that Dre Greenlaw having his practice window opened is going to depend on these next couple of games. I do. As far as Christian McCaffrey, I don't know though. Like, I mean, I think he'll continue playing. I don't think you shut down Christian McCaffrey if he's like healthy, right? Um, I think that you'll probably see more Garendo, and Jordan Mason will continue to mix in. Matt Barrows just tweeted out because I guess Kyle Shanahan was on KNBR. So Kyle said on KNBR that Brock Purdy had a very minimal practice today and is working on his rehab. Quote, hopefully he'll be feeling great on Sunday, end quote.
Is it his throwing shoulder, I'm assuming?
It's his throwing shoulder. Yeah, right shoulder.
Oh, yeah. All right. Looking at Green Bay sitting 7-3, obviously they want their get back. So, they also posted today snow on Lambeau Field already, and could be lasting until game time. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, we know our injury situation going into this already, so no need to go into that anymore. But just looking at Green Bay, kind of talk to me about, how that team is looking, their weapons. Obviously Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs. Why does that sound weird? Yeah. I'm like, why does that sound so strange all of a sudden? Love with another, had a full season of playing time under his belt now. What are we seeing from Green Bay, and what do they do to beat the 49ers in this game?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Josh Jacobs. I'd be concerned about him because he's a really good running back, right? The thing with the 49ers is, and their defense, is it seems like they can stop the run early in games. Like it looks like they have some momentum on their side, and then in the second half it kind of begins to unravel on them. If they do that against a running back like Josh Jacobs, I mean, I think that's going to be difficult to overcome, along with the fact that, Jordan Love and his receivers, I think, have good chemistry. I think like Jordan Love is still, like his game, he's a really strong arm, a lot of arm strength, arrogance, which, so he's gutsy. He tries things that other quarterbacks maybe wouldn't. And sometimes that gets him in trouble too. Like sometimes he throws bonehead picks as well. So I do think that the defense might have opportunities for that in this game. But all in all, like I'm cautious about it, right? Especially again, like without Bosa, I think that opens up the Packers to do whatever they want. I mean, I still have a lot of faith in the secondary, but I think it's going to become increasingly difficult as the game goes on to stop what they're doing if you don't have Bosa. Because, I mean, if you're giving Jordan Love, any quarterback really, time to throw, and you likely are if you don't have him, then, I think that's just a recipe for disaster, right? I think the saving grace is that the Packers, their touchdown rate in the red zone is just as bad as the 49ers. So there's that. But you can't give up like explosives, that put them in scoring position either. I just don't feel good about it. I really don't. I do think that, the Packers are going to want to get some revenge on the 49ers. They're not really talking about it, but I think they just don't want to jinx themselves, and they want to go to it like it's any other game, all business, But I think they're going to try to put it on them, and we'll see if the 49ers fight back. But based on what we've seen this season, it's like I have a hard time feeling like they will. Maybe there's a few guys on offense I feel good about, but overall, I don't feel good about it.
Uncle Salty, what's up? Good to see you. Hope you've been well. If a big fucking if, you guys, okay? If the 49ers can win this game, where, what, how do they need to do it, Steph? What do they need to take advantage? Where Green Bay has to have some weakness somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think their inefficiency in the red zone is one thing the defense could, not just the defense, but the offense could look to take advantage of. Because if, the Packers are going, drives get in the red zone, they stall, and you limit them to 3 points, that's great. Only if you can, get 7 on the other side, right? Or are you going tit for tat and just trading off field goals? That might happen too, but at some point, you have to be the better team and put up more points than the other team. It sounds Captain Obvious over here, right? But I think this game is going to be pretty close for most of it. Or it's going to come down to be really close. So it's going to come down to the little things, and you have to get as many points as you can and not leave points on the field. So that'd be one. I mean, 49ers have to score points.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm feeling about that. If we can't score points, especially if Purdy doesn't play, it's going to be rough. Before we close this out with the score prediction and this mess we got going on here, do you think we see the 49ers come out to this game out of the tunnel with the boombox?
No. When was the last time they brought the boombox out? I haven't seen it in a while. Or maybe I'm just not paying attention anymore, but they shouldn't. I hope not.
Because I might have to throw.
You gotta earn that boombox time. They ain't earning that.
Because I can't take them coming out all hype like they are about it, and then they get on the field and are just fucking duds. Like what T.O. said, you're more worried about your game day fit. You're more hyped coming out the freaking tunnel than you are the entire time you're on the field. I
guess they did do the boombox in Tampa.
See, so
they'll do it. It's just dude, put a slow song on, because that's how you're making me feel. Put a sad song on.
What's up, Shot Jay? Good to see you. All right. Score predictions, Steph.
Yeah, I gave a score prediction.
Wait.
Oh. Yeah, where are we at? Give me the
Steph
tally.
has officially taken the lead here.
Yeah. Okay?
So last week we were tied 99-99. And then I had put way more faith in this team than what they fucking deserved, and never again. Now we're sitting at 122-115. So 7 points. 7 points, Steph. You are leading by now.
Okay.
It took to week 12, but you officially have taken the lead, Steph. So what you got for me?
Am I allowed to do one if Purdy plays and if he doesn't?
You're allowed to do whatever you want. This is your show.
It's your show, but
it's our show.
It's our show. Okay. So I'm one of the two goats. All right. So because I did a show yesterday with Tom Grossi. He's a Packers content creator.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him a score prediction. This is with Purdy playing, because yesterday I still had better hope of that. So I gave 31-22 Packers. Okay. That was my score prediction. 31-22. Now, if he doesn't play, I say 31-12 Packers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one without as well because I did one, but it was with Purdy. And that was 21-28 Packers. Okay. But without, I think, like, do I even trust them to score a touchdown without? I don't know. They can barely score one with, so like, unless George Kittle literally takes the ball from like the 1 yard line and just fucking hulks it down there all the way 99 yards to score a touchdown or something, you know. Let's do. And then you can't count on Moody to fucking even make field goals. So it's like.
Yeah, I know. 12 is kind of crazy because I was thinking. Yeah, someone said I'm expecting a safety, but I was like, no, just field goals if Purdy doesn't play. Can Moody make 4 field goals?
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I'm going to do without Purdy 6-28 Green Bay.
Oof.
So
wouldn't that be sad?
With Purdy 21-28, without 6-28. Because I just don't. I'm tired. Last week I said they were going to score freaking 33 fucking points. And they scored 17.
Yep.
Like, no. Fuck them.
And Corey asked, isn't it snowing? That's a lot of points. It's snowing today in Green Bay. But as of right now, the forecast, there's no snow for Sunday. So I'm holding out hope that aside from it being cold, it won't be much of a factor. But if Purdy plays, like, I'd probably have, and it's going to be wet conditions, I'd have to dock down my 22 points for the Niners. But
yeah, there's a lot of different things that could change between now and Sunday. So
Yep.
Score predictions from chat. We got 23-17. I don't know who's winning. We got from Nathan 34-27. 49ers get the W. Corey 23-14. Packers. George is back, so 31-21 Niners from Alberto. Jay says 30-17 Green Bay. Don 28-17 Niners. Ice is wet, isn't it? What's up, La? La says 13-10 Niners. Steph, what you got going on? What else you got going on?
Yeah, tomorrow doing my preview show with KP to talk about the favorable and not so favorable, matchups for the 49ers in this game. Also should have Desi back to go over some of these injuries and if any of these, either of Bosa or Purdy, try to play through their injuries. Definitely going to talk to her about how it could impact their performance. So that'll be tomorrow at 2:30 Pacific. And sorry, my headphones died again.
Good. Uncle Salty says 27-20 Niners if Brock plays. I'm going to get, once Steph gets back to us, I'm going to get her thoughts on Brock. Okay. Before we get out of here. So a lot has been going on since, especially, I mean, this question has been looming obviously this entire season, but especially since this loss to Seattle, I've been seeing, a lot being said about Brock's contract that's coming up. How do you feel about this situation, Steph? I mean, do you think this is a situation where he's just going to fall in line and you're possibly looking at like a Danny Dimes situation because you're overpaying a quarterback that shouldn't be one of the highest paid in the league? Do you think he ends up not getting, the highest amounts? Like, do you think what if he goes somewhere else? Like, what if the 49ers don't pay him? Like, what, like, where are we at with this whole Brock Purdy situation?
I mean, if they don't pay him this offseason, he still has another year on his contract. That could get dicey, but they have that option if they have any reservations about how he's looked this season. Albert Breer was speaking about this earlier today. I don't think I retweeted it, but he was basically saying like he doesn't get the sense that the 49ers wouldn't pay Brock Purdy, so that's probably still likely to happen this offseason. I do think what they would be willing to pay him has probably fluctuated quite a bit throughout the year. And I think it's based on, what we've seen so far, right? I think it's clear he's not the guy that's going to, I don't want to say like he won't be the reason you win games, because he could be, but he's not on a consistent basis. Like he's not going to be like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson levels of raising the floor or ceiling of your team, right? Like that's not him. I think he does need the supporting cast to be successful. So like a baseline of success, and I think he has that so far. He had that certainly last season, and I think this season we just haven't seen that he could. We've seen him in a lot of different situations this year, and I don't think he's been the reason that the team has like elevated their performance in spite of missing guys, right? So I think that's one of the questions we had about him, and we're kind of getting the answer in real time. I also think the remaining games, and certainly like these next 5-6 games are going to tell us even more about Brock, right? And just how much he is deserved to get paid. At the same time, though, it's like there's a market for quarterbacks that tells you how much the next one is going to get paid, as far as like if it's their second contract in the NFL, it's almost like you have to pay them that amount. Yeah. I won't compare it to Danny Dimes, because I don't think at any point in New York has Danny Dimes ever looked like Brock Purdy did. But, I do think it's fair to have some questions about it now, and I think it's fair to want to get as much information about it as possible before making that big of a commitment to him. So again, I think the rest of these games are really going to determine that. But I ultimately do think they pay him, because whether that's the right choice or not, I just think that they will.
I think so too, because look how long it's taken them to find that, like, and we've already seen them go all in to get one of these quarterbacks that was supposed to be a Josh Allen type quarterback, and look what happened. So I just don't think that they risk trying to start all over and find another quarterback. Like,
yeah,
I don't. And like, at what point does Jed, get tired? Like, and you're not going to keep letting, no matter how much you like the GM and coach, you're not going to keep letting them give away your entire future looking for a quarterback, like taking a chance on a guy, like, unless you're trading for, one of these Josh Allen or a Mahomes, one of these teams are trading their star player. Like, that's what you're giving up the future for, not on just a question mark. So I definitely think they do play. I definitely think they do pay Brock, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see if he gets that top tier money, or if they somehow are able to work out something, because I don't know what happens if to the team if they pay him all this money and you have to start taking some of the talent away, you know, like at some point you can't keep everybody. So
Yep.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. And I think that the rest of the season too, you know, we'll see how Brock does throughout. But yeah, Steph, I appreciate you. Chats, appreciate you all as always. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe out there, please. Hopefully, you know, we can go into Green Bay and get some magic to happen. And hopefully we got a Brock Purdy this week, because as bad as this team's looked, I don't want to see how bad it looks without Brock Purdy. Like, so hopefully next time we're talking to you, we're talking about a dub, but you know, we'll see, faithful. Stay strong. All right. We got to be strong through this, because it's rough. It's rough these days. But yeah, Steph, much love. Appreciate you as always. We'll be back every Thursday, 3 Pacific time. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.